Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing? I hope all of you are fine. So in this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about Bitcoin and then Ethereum. Yes, so let's dig right deep into that. Okay, so Bitcoin is a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. What does that actually mean? What it means is that any person in the world can send a certain amount of Bitcoin to another person anywhere in the world, right? And it is decentralized system, you could say. Yeah. So what it happens is that every transaction between any two persons on the Bitcoin network is just happens directly. There is no middleman in the middle. There is no bank in the middle, okay, and there are no other intermediaries in the middle. So if I want to send, let's say 0.1 BTC to my friend in India or in Pakistan, all what I need to do is to enter his public key, okay, open up my wallet, open its and then in the receiver's address I just put his public address. Then I will just enter the amount of Bitcoin that I want to send, and then I will just simply put the send button, and then the transaction will go. Okay. What happens is that this transaction which happened between me and my friend is recorded, is hashed, okay. It is via a hashing function. It is hashed, and then hashing is okay. We will go into the details, technical details later on, but let's just move forward. So this transaction, okay, between me and my friend, the sender's address, the receiver's address, public addresses, okay, not private addresses, is hashed, okay, via a hashing function, okay, which will generate a fixed length message digest, okay. It has something to do with cryptography. So yeah, so the transaction data thus generated via this transaction which happened between me and my friend is hashed by this hashing function, and a fixed length message digest is generated. Now, any other transaction which will ever happen on this blockchain, its data will never ever produce the same message digest, okay. So that is why each and every transaction is uniquely recorded. So this transaction which happened between me and my friend, okay, it is hashed, and then it is recorded in a file, and the copies of these file are, there is not just one copy of this file which records these transactions between any two parties in the world, okay, which are using the Bitcoin network. So these transactions are recorded, tick 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 tick, and then a certain number of transactions are then encapsulated in a block, and then and when it is mined, it is added to the blockchain like this, you know. So if you can see correctly, yeah, I think let me just adjust. Yeah, I think you can see it. So basically you can see that, okay, all these transactions tick 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 tick, they are recorded, okay, and then so quite many transactions can be recorded here, you know. And then what happens is that all this so the thing is that a certain number of transactions, when it reaches, okay, so after a certain time a block is generated, okay, and then this block which contains these a certain number of transactions are then recorded in each and every copy of the blockchain. So there can be many computers on the Bitcoin network, okay, which can be running the Bitcoin software, and that is why they are called nodes. There is also a term called full node, and what a full node means is that a full node maintains the whole of the blockchain. So from starting the first transaction to the last, sorry for that, so to the last transaction, current transaction, all the blocks, everything is maintained by this computer. So it means that it is a full node because it maintains a copy of the whole blockchain. But it is not a necessity. Okay, so what I mean to say is that, okay, so there are multiple computers which are automatically given the new block, and this is something which is done by a consensus algorithm, which we will discuss in the next videos. Okay, I can do that, no problems. So one block is created, okay, so the transaction between any two people on the blockchain, on the Bitcoin blockchain, is recorded, then recorded, and all these are bunched together into a block, and then this block is then appended to all the copies of the blockchain which are existing at that point. So okay, so it means that essentially a blockchain is a big database, and multiple copies of this database exist at any point. Multiple updated copies of this database exist, and the good thing is that in a centralized system, for example, a bank's database can be hacked. Recently there was an attack on the DDoS attack on the NHS, and that is why the record of many patients were, I think they were not compromised, but it was a big headache. Anyways, so what I mean to say over here is that, see, there are certain things which makes Bitcoin much more better and much more resilient as compared to the normal databases. Number one thing is security. And what do I mean by that? You do something on Facebook, you do something on Twitter, but the back end is and the database is the property or is the property of an organization. Twitter and Facebook, for example, and they can just go to the back end. I'm not saying that they do that, but if they have a bad intent, which I don't think they have, maybe, I don't know, I cannot judge them, but you can always tweak the back end, and this can create huge problems for a person, isn't it? So yeah, that is the issue. And but in the case of blockchain, you simply cannot go back and change a transaction there because it is not possible. Okay, so it means that a blockchain is a big database. Multiple copies of that database are maintained at any particular time, okay, by multiple computers which are a part of that network, multiple nodes we call them, and you can only add data to this database. It means it is append only, and you cannot actually go back and change something over there. So it means it is very secure, right? Yeah. And then this third good thing is that it is very resilient to attacks anyways, because if one of the nodes just if the power goes down or something bad happens, or if the memory of that machine, so something happens to that machine, or if the owner just throws it out of the window, that Bitcoin node, there are still other nodes maintaining the same copy of the updated copy of the Bitcoin blockchain, so nothing is lost, right? But what will happen if a company has a server and someone attacks it and screws it? Everything is can potentially be gone, right? So it means that okay, and the term blockchain actually was found first in the comments of the Bitcoin code. So we can say that Bitcoin was envisioned first, but and then you see they just call this data structure, blockchain. So this is the way it went. So this is all about Bitcoin. It is a peer-to-peer, meaning no central authority in the middle, peer-to-peer electronic cash system. Okay, and what you do actually is you transfer Bitcoins in the okay. So a Bitcoin can also be an expression of value. So I have this copy. It costs like $1. So its value has been expressed as $1. So if I have a copy made of gold leaves, I will say that this copy is worth $5,000. Because now I am putting more value on that, right? Because now it is gold, right? So in the same way, Bitcoin is also can be seen as it can be seen as a currency, right? And it has some good properties, like number one, the government, the printing presses of the government cannot just print it and cause an inflation like the way it was caused in Germany before the Second World War. Nowadays, you look at Venezuela, it is in deep shit just because of this reason. So that is the thing, and a government can print as many of them as they want, but in case of Bitcoin, you cannot do that. There is a fixed total supply which is there. And now you can ask me a very good question: why the hell should somebody just run the Bitcoin software and validate the transactions and generate blocks and all that? Why? Because these nodes which I just mentioned, when they mine next block, and then they are always given some Bitcoin as an incentive, and also the transaction fee is also there. So even when I believe that of course, that even if the last Bitcoin is mined, still I think the transaction fee will be there to incentivize the miners to keep on running the Bitcoin software. So this is all about Bitcoin. Now let's go to let's discuss Ethereum a little bit. Okay, Ethereum is a bit different. Okay, so basically Ethereum is about smart contracts and dApps. Okay, so you can build Facebook, you can build PayPal, you can build anything, any application that you can think of on the top of Ethereum blockchain. But again, the thing is the same. It is a blockchain. Ethereum has a blockchain, right? And all the transactions which will be going on over there, between the users of these apps, they will be recorded on the Ethereum blockchain. Okay, so the concept of blockchain is simply the same, but it is more about it is much more wider in scope, Ethereum. So you can also build a currency, on the top of Ethereum as tokens, and then people can actually make transactions with that, and so on and so forth. But so the dApps are pretty cool because there are no middlemen in the middle. So there is a company called Moneta, so which are building the PayPal of the blockchain era. So what they are essentially doing is that they will be using, currently at least, they are using Ethereum. So basically the consumers, let's put it that way, and the firms, or let's say businessmen or the business owners, okay, they can I can just purchase a product from a person in China, and then instead of sending him a transaction via bank, sending him money which will go through my bank, and then on the website of Moneta I was pretty shocked to see that there are 15 intermediaries for each transaction that you send to any person cross-border. But with Moneta, all these middlemen are gone, and then every transaction is just recorded on the blockchain between two people. You can buy anything. You can buy shoes. You can buy clothes, and just as if you will buy on Amazon. But Amazon and PayPal are centralized. The data, everything that you see on Amazon is recorded or is stored in databases which are owned by, let's say, Amazon, and the same is the case for PayPal. But in the case of Moneta, it is not the case. It will be peer-to-peer, much more fair, and the same goodies of blockchain, like immutability, will be there. Like, you just cannot go back and change some data there, and then you cannot do that. It is immutable. It is append only. It is decentralized. So multiple copies of the Ethereum blockchains are maintained, so no one can actually screw up over there. So that was a gentle introduction to Bitcoin and Ethereum from a scientist, okay, to all my amazing viewers. Stay tuned, guys. If you are interested in blockchain, number one. If you are interested in cryptocurrencies, number two. If you are interested to find the hidden gems, like the cryptocurrencies which can make you huge gains, you must subscribe to this channel, okay? So I will make sure that this channel brings a lot of value to you. I will also be writing a free report each month or so, and I will be giving it for free to my viewers for the first 1 year. So welcome on board, guys. See you around. Peace out, and I will enjoy the beautiful sunny day in Oulu, Finland. Bye.